Ramadan Kareem, this is the Lovin Dubai show with me, Casey.
And Farah.
And we go through the big trending stories. Our top story, Iran attacks day 7. We'll have your morning news brief.
And we're also going to share the injuries from the drone-related incidents, and they have already reached 94.
We have a powerful tweet from Emirati entrepreneur Khalaf Al Habtoor, who has addressed President Trump and his recent actions, which have led to the Iranian aggressions on the UAE.
And residents call out sports car owners who are needlessly revving their engines, and that needs to stop.
Yeah, so true. Good morning to everyone except for people who are revving their engines at night. In today's rapid weather report, it's mostly cloudy with temperatures ranging from 20 to 26 degrees Celsius. Let's jump into our top story of the morning.
So Iranian attacks day 7, and here is your morning news brief. On the night of March 5th, yesterday, residents across the UAE received an emergency alert from authorities. The first message sent out during the ongoing interception operations instructed people to remain indoors and follow official guidance. The alert made it clear that the air defense systems were actively responding to incoming threats, and residents were urged to stay calm and avoid unnecessary movement. Shortly after, a second alert was issued confirming that it was safe.
I was so happy to get that second alert. The rapid back-to-back notifications reflect the Ministry of Interior's transparency in real time. First warning the public during active operations, then reassuring residents once the situation was under control. At the same time, the UAE Ministry of Defence released official figures detailing what had happened and the number of interceptions so far.
So, according to the ministry, this is in total, there was 1,072 UAVs were detected, with 1,001 successfully intercepted and 71 impacting land. 8 cruise missiles were detected and all 8 were intercepted. 196 ballistic missiles were detected, with 181 intercepted. Of the remainder, 13 fell into the sea and 2 impacted land.
First of all, I just want to give a massive shout out to the Ministry of Defence, Ministry of Interiors. We think we're tired. It's the holy month of Ramadan and they are hard at work making sure we are safe in our beds. The sirens went off last night. I think we'd had Cam for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Were you okay? Where were you when it happened?
No, I was at home, thankfully. I can always hear through the window and all that stuff. I can always hear my neighbors getting them first. So I always
What?
I can always prepare myself. Swear.
That's funny because my father-in-law is stranded and so he's here and his phone went off like 30 seconds after ours and he thought it was like a Samsung thing.
No way.
But it's not because you have an iPhone, so that is
Yeah.
unfounded. And so what do you do when you hear the siren?
Oh, I try to just shut it up really fast. Of course I read it, but I shut it up really fast because I have a cat in the house and I don't want to freak her out. Because that would just be a mess. But thankfully I got the first one, and shortly after, I think it was maybe an hour later, I got the second one and everything was completely fine. But it felt like I was planning to leave anyway. I was just sitting there, not planning to leave.
But my instinct when the siren goes off is that in the last couple of days they have been location based. So we understand that the sirens are being location based, and so it's in the area, and so I follow the instructions. I leave from my cozy seat at the window and I jump in to the interior of the building. And then this is the first time family was over. I mentioned parents-in-law are stranded. They were meant to fly last Sunday, and hopefully they're leaving this Sunday. They have things to get back to if the flight goes. And so the nervous Nellies in the house, in the siren situation, which is me and my mother-in-law, we suggested let's just go downstairs.
Really?
Yeah, but then we went down and we were the only ones there. And so after about 3 minutes, we're like, let's just go back up. But I think the downstairs was probably a little bit dramatic. But if I was solo in that apartment, I would have been in the bathroom, because you should go to a place with no windows and just sit there.
Yeah,
and there's no issues with that. I know what's going on up above. I just don't want the falling debris is a serious thing, and I just want to be away from that. So that's why I would move in. But you obviously don't have the same fear.
But then again, I live in a studio apartment, so technically I'm already in the center of the house, unless I can go to the bathroom. But I just decided I'm just going to stay on the couch, which is, I guess, technically the farthest from the window where I could sit. So that's where I was yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can only do so much when you're in such a confined space.
No, true.
But yeah, I think at this point, I don't know, I'm starting to get used to it.
Really?
Yeah, even though I had thought, khalas, it's over, like it's been a couple of days, things have been calm. I thought it was over. And I'm slowly starting to realize maybe this is going to take longer than I anticipated. Because also Sandra, our colleague, said she thought this was going to be a 1-2 day thing max.
Yeah, so did I.
No, it's not. But I don't know. I hope it ends soon.
Yeah, I hope it ends soon. But I just want to say, God bless the UAE, because when you get that safety message...
It's alarming. Yeah.
No, excuse me, when you get the "we are now safe" message.
Oh, that's, yeah. Oh.
It's such an amazing reassurance, and it's so well managed.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Every single person in the country, take your precautions. There are missile defense taking place. And then when we look through the numbers, we understand that over... as far as said, over 1,000 drones have been launched at the city, and the majority are deflected before they reach the state, which is just phenomenal. And then in terms of the communication with us as residents, location-based sirens go off. You go in if you're outside, for example, because they do want us to continue as normal, because life can continue as normal. And it's okay to be outside. It's okay to go for your walks if you feel safe. But when you hear that siren, you know it's time to go in, get protection. If you're driving a car, we spoke about this yesterday, keep going until you reach shelter.
Yes.
Go indoors and take your shelter. And those are the instructions. Life can continue as normal if you feel safe to do so. But as soon as you hear that alarm, you know that defense is ongoing and it's time to take your shelter.
Yeah. It's only for precaution. But other than that, it's better to follow it.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have an update on injuries from drone-related incidents have reached 94. So we've been talking about air defences, and on Thursday, air defences intercepted 6 ballistic missiles and 125 drones. Now, we might have an update on that number since what happened last night. The Ministry of Defence announced that the UAE air defence systems detected 7 ballistic missiles, intercepting and destroying 6 of them, while 1 ballistic missile fell inside the country.
The ministry added that air defenses also detected 131 drones, intercepting 125 of them, while 6 fell within the UAE territory. The ministry stated that since the start of the blatant Iranian aggression, 196 ballistic missiles were launched towards the UAE, and many more have fallen into the sea, like we've mentioned before, and some within the country, unfortunately.
The attacks resulted in 3 fatalities of Pakistani, Nepali and Bangladeshi nationalities, as well as 94 minor injuries among individuals of Emirati, Egyptian, Ethiopian, Filipino, Pakistani, Indian, Iranian, Bangladeshi, Sri Lankan, Azerbaijani, Yemeni, Ugandan, Eritrean, Lebanese, Afghan and Bahraini, Comorian and Turkish nationalities.
The Ministry of Defense reiterated that it is fully prepared and ready to address any threats, and it's taking all necessary measures to safeguard the country's security, sovereignty, stability, and national interests.
So yeah, we put it out, message to you. It is Friday. It is the holy month of Ramadan. Are you in the office today? Are you feeling okay? I know our Abu Dhabi office is working from home today. There were, I think, more significant noises last night, and so I think they're just going to take the day. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see this weekend how it plays out in terms of it has been going on for 5 days now. We are getting very consistent, continue as normal with caution messaging from the government.
Yes.
And as you said, and I actually felt the same as Sandra, that it wouldn't last that long. But if we consider we're coming into the weekend, we're nearly hitting we're nearly hitting the full week now. And it could continue a little bit. And so if you feel safe, it is probably time to go for your walks, time to take a little bit of an iftar out, because this could last. And so we need to trust in the leadership and trust in the defence that's taking place and continue as normally as possible in very unique and certainly scary circumstances.
At the end of the day, I feel like because these alerts that we're getting are location based, so wherever you are, if there are any missile interception operations going on in that area, you're going to receive that message and you're going to be instructed to go indoors where it's safer. So the idea is to go about your day as you normally would, and then if something will happen, you will get that alert. So you can take your precaution then. But honestly, I really didn't expect it to last this long. But at the same time, the ministry and the UAE defense systems, like everyone is like doing their best. And yesterday I was up thinking, everyone is like working so tirelessly. Like you have your journalists, your delivery riders, your chefs in the kitchen and all that stuff. Everyone is working so much, including obviously the military and the government. Like everyone is working so much. So I just couldn't feel prouder. And all the support, of course, that we're getting from Emirati nationals saying, praising the expats or the residents and saying thank you for sticking by the country and having so much faith in our leaders.
Oh, so true. Those messages are super sweet.
Yeah. Every time I read one of these, I'm just like, thank you.
No, so nice. I think one of the ones, and I think you covered it yesterday, was it was a local on X saying, I didn't realise how much people really loved the country.
Exactly.
Because all of the international fake news stories say everyone is absconding and everyone is leaving. And yes, let's not deny it, there are busyness at the borders and there are repatriation flights. They are generally for people who are stranded, people who are on business, and maybe people with medical concerns. I think the number of UK people in the country was 150,000 and the number of generally people who live is 70,000. So there was a massive number of tourists in the country. Fair enough, tourists who don't live here.
They don't need to stay here for that.
They don't need to stay. Why would they stay?
Go.
And their hotel bills are racking up. All of those people need to get out of the country. So the number of people you're seeing flying is generally related to that. I've seen interviews with people who run private jet companies and they say the majority are tourists who are stranded and want to get out.
That makes perfect sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And what we are seeing is, I don't know a single person with a resident visa here who is leaving.
Yeah. There's
I don't know that many people.
I mean,
to be honest, but
of course I'm hearing people that were told by their parents, for example, oh, why don't you just come back home for some time? My mom told me the same thing. She was like, why don't you come back home? And I'm like, why? I don't see why.
My mom said the same. She was like, think of the baby. I was like,
okay.
Sorry, that's bad. But
that I can understand a little.
Me too, but what I'm saying is there's so much fear in the media that they're seeing that...
It's not as bad as it looks.
It's not as bad as it looks.
No, not at all. Like, of course, it sounds scary when you hear missiles going over the country, Dubai, safest city in the world, da-da-da. Like, of course, it's going to sound terrifying. But then when you actually are filming the outside world, like I've seen so many videos, you're just like, I don't see anything. Everything's completely fine. It's only like a very short number of time and alerts are being sent out and all that. So it's being it's under control.
Yeah. What I would acknowledge is it's certainly an uncertain period, and we don't know what will happen next. And so, in terms of safety, what we can acknowledge is we trust that the leadership is putting our safety as top priority. We trust that the leadership will ensure our safety.
Exactly.
And on that, let's move into another story. This came out. It was a tweet that went live yesterday morning from Khalaf Al Habtoor. And he's basically calling out President Trump. And the reaction to this has been absolutely huge. We shared it on our Instagram yesterday afternoon. And it was amazing to see the response, because I think what happened is people said, okay, finally someone is saying what we're thinking.
Exactly. So Emirati entrepreneur Khalaf Al Habtoor, he addressed President Trump in the tweet. He began with a blunt question, writing, and quote, "Who gave you the authority to drag our region into war with Iran? And on what basis did you take this dangerous decision?" End quote. He questioned whether the collateral damage had been calculated before the decision was made, warning that the first to suffer from any escalation would be the countries of the Gulf and neighboring Arab states. He went further, asking whether the decision was truly Trump's alone or the result of pressure from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government.
Which is a key question that people are asking in terms of how the incident played out over the last couple of months and Trump's final decision to actually join Israel in the attack on Iran, which ultimately led to the aggression that we're seeing here in the UAE. Al Habtoor made it clear that the GCC and Arab states did not choose to be placed at the centre of a battlefield. While affirming that the Gulf countries are strong and certainly capable of defending themselves, he asked the central question again: who gave you the permission to turn our region into a battlefield?
He then pointed to what he described as a contradiction. Before the ink had dried on peace initiatives announced in the name of stability, the region was now facing military escalation. He questioned where those commitments to peace had gone and what happened to the billions of dollars contributed by Gulf states to support stability and development. He asked plainly whether that money was funding for peace or funding for a war that now puts the region at risk.
It's a very important question to ask. And Habtoor did not stop there. He warned that the consequences would also fall on Americans themselves. He said the American public is being drawn into a conflict funded by their own taxes, citing estimates that direct military operations could cost between $40 to $65 billion, and that's for the American people. He also accused Trump of breaking promises made to voters, pledges not to involve the United States in new wars, and also to focus on domestic priorities only, which were the original messaging laid out by President of the United States during his campaigns.
He ended his message, Al Habtoor, with a statement that summed up his position. He said, "True leadership is not measured by decisions of war, but by wisdom, respect for others, and pushing towards achieving peace." The tweet has since sparked strong reactions from readers, with many debating the broader implications of foreign military decisions on Gulf stability and global security. I feel like that tweet was so well put, and it gained like so much attention online. It was so perfectly worded, and honestly, like, I don't think anyone could have put it into better words than Khalaf Al Habtoor.
And I think he touched on so many important points. To begin, is that we have been drawn into a war, a conflict. We've been drawn into a war that is not ours to fight. And the UAE is always putting, people, economy first. And so this is not something that we wanted to be part of. People, leadership, government, residents. And it seems that by proxy we are being attacked for whatever reason I can't say. And so one of the comments I think stuck out at me was _Swire said, "Thank you for speaking up and asking the question that many of us has been hesitant to voice. Our leaders have always thought us to be tolerant, patient, and to rise above negativity." That's the mindset of people here. However, as citizens of the UAE, we also have a right to understand what is happening and why. Your voice helped express what many quietly worded. And I think the what we're trying to express here is just a confusion. It's why has this happened and why are we involved when it's something that seems so unconnected?
Exactly. Because it seems so unconnected, people are just wondering, like, what does the GCC countries have to do with this entire thing? It's not related. It's just circumstances. It's really hard to tell with these political things. As someone, for example, I'm not a very political person. I don't like to engage in a lot of political talk because I feel like I don't know a lot of it, so I don't like to have discussions on it. But something like this has definitely made me feel like, just like Khalaf Al Habtoor said, did President Donald Trump consider the implications this would have on the GCC?
Following the GCC supporting the Board of Peace.
That's what I was, yeah.
And the fact that, you know, the UAE and Iran had a generally good friendship, allies, and the UAE also supporting the UAE also supporting the US to aim for peace and stability around the world. The moves just seem at odds. So it'll be interesting to see how the relationship plays out in future. Again, I certainly don't like to speculate either. And I think it's something that many of us just do not know the answer to. But I think, as you said, and as Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor said, did he calculate the collateral damage, which is fatalities and injuries and intentional fear. But what I think we are phenomenally seeing is the UAE's response, which is we were ready and life can continue, which is show me another city
that would do that,
that can be hit by what we've been hit by. And because the trust in the leadership is so strong, people are saying we're actually safe in our beds and we're actually able to head for a walk during the day.
Exactly.
It's really phenomenal that they're able to keep the fear off the streets during such an uncertain time. Let's jump into something that's a little bit of a pet peeve.
Yes.
To add to the uncertainty, a pet peeve: residents calling out sports car owners to stop needlessly revving their engines in light of recent events. Residents are calling on sports cars who are revving their engines a little bit aggressively in residential areas, and people want it to stop.
Many are asking drivers with loud engines to switch their vehicle to comfort mode to help minimize the unnecessary noise. It's also worth noting that the noise violations can result in fines of up to 2,000 dirhams and 12 black points on the driver's license.
We did touch on this yesterday, but I wanted to raise a few points that are coming up in my community group, which is I'm actually not in as many big WhatsApp groups. People talk about these WhatsApp groups that have like 200, 300, 400 people.
I'm not in those.
But I'd like to be. So if anyone wants
right?
If anyone wants to add me to a WhatsApp group, I'm here for it. Okay, so this message: people are dropping loud thuds, dropping things on the third floor. The alert went off 2 hours ago. We're on edge.
Oh my God.
Do you think that's funny? I think that's like...
No, that's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Oh my God, yes.
I know we're trying to live normally, but be a bit more careful. In the same group, so if our gym is on the roof, and so
dropping those weights.
Dropping those weights. So if you live on that's the 6th floor. If you live on the 5th floor beneath the gym, that's all you're hearing. And I think we used to hear these sounds, and it was just normal.
Yeah, exactly. But
now you're thinking, oh,
what is that?
What is that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, my best friend lives in the same building, but she lives one floor beneath me, and she's saying, Farah, your neighbors, which are the ones next to me, are making so much noise, it's like they're moving furniture around. I was like, yes, I can hear it as well.
What do you think they're doing?
I don't know, it feels like everyone's moving furniture suddenly. Everyone wants to redecorate.
Do you think we're just becoming... Oh, and also there's someone in my building who is refurbing.
That is the worst time to do it.
Refurbing an apartment during the workday. But what do you do in that situation if you've got all the
No, of course, you have to continue what you're doing.
But do you?
But like, at the same time, it's like, it's really hard because now we're so sensitive to the sounds, and I'm always constantly on alert. I can always feel like I'm listening to everything. I'm just like, okay, that's a jet. Always. Because there were never planes flying over JVC. There would never be a reason. Airport's not even close. So I would always say, oh my God, that's a jet. That's not a commercial plane. And once that settles in, I'm just like, okay, we're fine, we're safe. Inshallah.
Yeah, the fighter jets are doing an amazing job getting the commercial airlines out of the city.
Yes, it looks incredible.
So we won't ask them to stop needlessly revving their engines.
No, please do that.
You keep revving your engines, and thank you so much, fighter plane people. But if you have a sports car, if you're dropping garbage into the chute, make sure it's tied up, because I think people are saying sometimes it's like glasses reverberating from the side and it travels.
It does.
If you have a baby, just ask that. No, I'm joking. If you have a loud car, I think those are the main things. No dumbbells on the floor if you've got people beneath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because even here in our office, sometimes when trucks go by, it's a warehouse.
Yeah.
With a corrugated iron roof, probably, and sound does travel. So even before this, I was always aware of big trucks outside because it goes.
Yes, the trucks with the garbage trucks. Whenever they would come by, would say, "What is that?"
Yeah,
and
even
then everyone's
before.
like, "Garbage truck, garbage truck, garbage truck."
But now, heightened.
Heightened senses.
Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. It is the weekend. We will see you back here on Monday morning. Have a very safe weekend. If you want to catch the show in podcast form, you can also get it wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you, Farah, for joining us. And we'll see you on Monday morning. Have a safe weekend. Bye-bye.